Hi, welcome. My name is Dr. Bلاد. I will be your host today in Seen Differently, where we try to look at historical and geopolitical events from different perspectives. Today's topic is about the similarities between WW1 U-Boats and Barbary Corsairs in terms of tactics and impact. So stay tuned. Across centuries of seas, two forces became the scourge of maritime powers: the Barbary Corsairs of North Africa and the German U-boats of World War I. Both operated outside the norms of traditional warfare, using what today we'd call maritime irregular warfare. While they are separated by centuries, their goals and tactics shared remarkable similarities. Let's dive in and uncover how these two forces control the seas through unconventional, irregular methods that terrorize their enemies. Our story begins in the Mediterranean, where the Barbary Corsairs turned the seas into their battlefield from the 16th to the 19th centuries. Through commerce raiding, also known as guerre de course in French, corso in Italian, wقراصنة in Arabic, and korsanlık in Turkish. Based in fortified ports along the North African coast, such as Algiers, Tunis, and Tripoli, Corsairs waged economic war on European powers through raiding merchant ships and disrupting their trade. Barbary Corsairs mastered this type of irregular warfare at sea. Their approach was simple yet effective. Using small and fast ships like galleys and shipwrecks, the Corsairs employed tactics of surprise and speed to ambush merchant vessels, hitting hard and vanishing before any response. In this era, their irregular warfare methods, what we'd call asymmetric today, allowed them to punch well above their weight. Their key tactics included: 1. Hit-and-run raids. Corsairs relied on surprise attacks, an essential tactic of irregular warfare designed to catch merchant ships off guard. Armed with cannons and skilled boarding crews, they would overwhelm crews before anyone could organize a defense. This type of engagements was labeled by the Italian historian Salvatore Bono guerrilla activities at sea. It allowed weaker maritime states to inflict maximum damage on the enemy's maritime trade while avoiding direct confrontation with their stronger regular battle fleets. Secondly, economic disruption. Through these irregular raids, the Corsairs drained European wealth by targeting vital trade routes. Their action forced European powers into expensive negotiations, paying annual tributes or hiring escorts to secure passage. It is worth noting that Maghreb states practiced corso as a response to Christian pirates and Corsairs aggressions that devastated Maghreb coastal town in the early 16th century. While admitting the equal practice of corso by both Christians and Muslims, Algerian historian Moulay Belhamisi distinguishes between the factors that stimulated it. The corso practiced by Algerians, he argues, was the war of the poor engaged against the wealthy, the struggle of those who are barred from trading against those who pretend that they are the only who can generate profit from maritime traffic. 3. Psychological impact. The Corsairs' reputation alone was enough to create fear among European sailors, knowing that Corsairs could strike anywhere disrupted trade, spreading the impact of their irregular tactics even without an attack. These irregular tactics helped the Barbary Corsairs pressure European powers, leaving a legacy that forced nations to rethink how they protected their economic and maritime interests. Now fast forward to World War I, where Germany employed a different form of maritime irregular warfare in the form of U-boats. The German Navy didn't need large battleships to take on the Allied fleets. Instead, they deployed a new kind of weapons, the submarine. With their U-boats, Germany launched a campaign of irregular warfare, seeking to cripple Britain by attacking the supply routes that kept it alive. German U-boats were deadly because of one strategy in particular: unrestricted submarine warfare. Just as Corsairs attacked commercial ships, U-boats used irregular tactics to target any vessel, be it merchant, military, or passenger. For Germany, this was an economic strategy of attrition, designed to cut Britain off and force it to surrender. U-boats' key tactics encompass: 1. Unrestricted submarine warfare. U-boats sank ships on sight, attacking without warning. which broke conventional naval rules. This irregular tactic made every journey across the Atlantic a gamble, creating chaos in Allied shipping lines. 2. Economic blockade. U-boats aimed to starve Britain by targeting merchant ships carrying essential goods. This economic pressure was critical, mirroring the Corsair strategy centuries earlier. 3. Ambush and stealth attacks. U-boats would rise to periscope depth, fire a torpedo, and dive again, using stealth tactics to terrorize Allied ships. Just like Corsairs, they relied on surprise and concealment, hallmarks of guerrilla warfare. Germany's use of irregular warfare forced their allies to adopt countermeasures like the convoy system to counteract the U-boat threat. Just as European navies adapted to the Barbary Corsairs, so too did the Allies have to adapt to Germany's unconventional threat beneath the waves. Both Barbary Corsairs and German U-boats used naval irregular warfare to challenge superior naval powers. So how do they compare in their use of maritime irregular warfare? Both used unconventional tactics, targeted essential supply routes, and left a lasting impact on maritime strategy. Here is a breakdown of their similarities. The striking similarities between privateers and U-boats in the realm of tactics did not escape the attention of contemporary observers. British lawyer J.E.G. de Montmorency argued that German methods have been modeled with pleasing historical accuracy on the Barbary states. French legal scholar Brongniart took this comparison even further, asserting that Corsair warfare was more humane than that of submarines. According to him, the privateer, despite being well suited to modern democratic concept of armed nation, is fundamentally aligned with humanizing maritime war. While a battleship can be sunk in an instant, pierced by an unseen submarine, the privateer seeks only merchandise and has no need for bloodshed. Separated by time but united by tactics, the Barbary Corsairs and German U-boats exemplified maritime irregular warfare. They didn't rely solely on brute force. Instead, they wielded fear and economic disruption as weapons, proving that sometimes the most unconventional tactics are the most effective. Through this asymmetric approach, they altered maritime history and forced powerful maritime nations to adapt or risk defeat. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed exploring this side of maritime history, please consider subscribing for more content. Let me know in the comments what other unique historical topics you'd like to see differently. Take care and salam.